Welcome in, everyone. We'll get started in just a bit. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat below. Pop in where you're joining from today, what industry you work in, what do you do. It's always great to see where everyone is at for these webinars. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Got some good content for you today. And I like to mention that this will be recorded. So if you have to leave early, if you join late, if you want to share with your colleagues, feel free to do that. Welcome in, folks. Hello, Maggie. Thanks for joining. All right, we'll give it just a bit. All right, we are going to kick it off, but as I mentioned, this is recorded, so you'll receive the recording after the live event. Welcome, everyone, to Unlock Efficiency and Streamline Content, Discover Issuu for Teams. So today we're going to be diving into Issuu for Teams, which is a feature that serves organizations, brands, enterprises, many different use cases. Some of you may be a current user, some of you may have never heard of this, but we'll have content that adds value to everyone here today. My name is Talius. If you've attended another Issuu webinar, you have met me before. I'm a demand marketing manager here at Issuu. I'm from Chicago. I am a coffee lover and I race bikes in my spare time. And joining me today is my colleague, Amber, who I'll have introduce herself. Thanks for joining, Amber.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you, meet you. I am not an avid bike rider like Talius, but I do love some yoga. So a little bit of the opposite. Love dogs, out here trying to rescue all of them. And I'm big on Halloween, all things spooky. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that have already decorated for Halloween. So
that's impressive. Yeah, I just saw your Halloween mug. It's very, very thematic.
yes.
All right. Well, just some housekeeping, what we're going to talk about today. Again, as I mentioned, the slides and the recording are going to be sent to you directly following the live event. So if you want to share with other members of your team, if you have a marketing department, if you want to share it with your management, feel free to do that. Also, the chat and Q&A are open below. The chat is what you folks have been introducing yourselves in. Thank you for doing so. But if you have specific questions, please pop those into the Q&A. So we are able to keep track of those and answer them during and after the presentation, because we want to make sure we get to everyone's questions. The main content today is going to deal with navigating the content marketing challenges enterprises face, and then talking about content strategy, insights, and tips from Amber and myself, and then exploring the power of Issuu for Teams with a live demo. So that's what we'll cover during the presentation, and then we will do a live Q&A following the presentation to cover some of your questions during the webinar. All right, so a brief introduction to Issuu. I'm sure many of you are already Issuu users or are familiar with Issuu, but if you are not familiar, here at Issuu, we are all about being able to upload, customize, publish, and analyze any sort of long-form digital content. So you can upload a magazine, brochure, PDF from any source, upload that into the Issuu platform, and then customize that with links and video. You can embed it on your own website, and then you can share that via link. You can share that, as I mentioned, embed it on your own website. You can create content for social media, for email. And then once you've shared and distributed that piece of content, you can go back into the Issuu platform and actually view real-time stats to see how that publication is performing. So this is a high-level overview about what we do here at Issuu, but we're going to dive specifically today into our team's product. So Amber, to kick us off, can you kind of walk us through what some of the content marketing problems and challenges that are currently faced by enterprises?
Yeah, I would say typically when I am meeting with enterprises, they really need a more collaborative and friendly workspace to create, edit, and share content more effectively. And then the majority also want data about their content, really statistics that can help them improve their engagement, take that data, optimize their content, and drive more traffic, whether it is both internal usage or external usage.
Yeah, I think it's a great touch on both internal and external usage, and we'll talk more about that a bit during the live demo. And I think some of the reasons that these enterprises and organizations need a higher level of, a streamlined platform for collaborative work among their team is because we're seeing a lack of engagement with traditional content types, expensive printing, development, and creation costs. So if you have been around for a while, if your organization's been around for a while, the way you're used to operating, whether that's kind of the way you structure working internally, or even the style of content you're producing. So if you've been producing print media for a long period of time, or even sharing long form media as a PDF, you might see engagement rates dropping. You're not able to produce as much as you need to, as frequently as you need to, as we move forward, and things just get quicker and quicker. Another hurdle enterprises and larger organizations are facing are the complexity and scale of distribution, and then lack of content production and sharing efficiency. This is what we mentioned. If you don't have these streamlined processes in place for your organization, it can really be a hurdle to produce as much content as you need and to produce as high quality content as you need to really see that benefit, whether that's with the marketing or sales department for your organization. And then the final portion here, like you mentioned, Amber, is that unknown usage and consumption. So if you spend so much time creating various pieces of content and crafting a content marketing strategy, but then you don't know how that content is performing, that's not good. You don't know what's working and what's not working, so you can't improve for the future. And I really found this quote very interesting, is that most marketers say it takes between 1 and 6 hours on average to create a piece of content. And so obviously this varies, ranging from the type of content, ranging from organization to organization. But the point is that it takes a significant amount of time to create a really thoughtful piece of content. So whether this is anything from a social post to a 20-page catalog to a short form video, if you're producing content that is of high quality and that it's engaging and targeted for your specific audience, it takes a lot of time. And so you need to have a significant amount of people and energy dedicated to doing this. But in tandem with that, you need streamlined workflows that enable the people who are working on this content to be creative and to work effectively and to spend time creating high quality content rather than just focused on kind of the logistics of sharing that. So Amber, can you talk to us a bit about the biggest ways content marketing has shifted and changed in recent years?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we all know there's more content out there than ever. So, understanding how your audience is or isn't engaging with your content is now more important than ever. It just really goes back to really needing to optimize the content that you're putting out there to stand out from the crowd. So, with Issuu, we see this done through the use of our statistics, and this helps marketers optimize and drive more traffic to their content.
Exactly. And there's more distribution channels than ever before, and there's also an increased cadence of content production. So you need to produce more and more that is a higher and higher in quality, and it's more and more engaging. And so at a certain point, you need to find tools that enable you to really do that effectively. So when you have an increased time dedicated to execution, that kind of results in decreased time for collaboration, creativity, and strategy. And ultimately, those three items, collaboration, creativity, and strategy, are what's going to enable you to produce really engaging, high quality content that is attractive and engaging to your target audience. And if you're spending all your time focused on, turning content from one format into another, or looking back to see where you saved this one piece of content, or making tiresome edits to the same, content that you need to release in a week, it's just not effective. And so that's where tools like Issuu for Teams come in. So it enables you to cut the time it takes to share and distribute content across channels, empowers teams to collaborate on business content and improve strategies. It eliminates printing costs and silos between teams. It boosts reads, clicks, and engagement, and streamlines your entire content marketing workflow. So Issuu and Issuu for Teams is all about allowing teams and allowing organizations to work more effectively and in a more streamlined way, so that you can dedicate more time to the actual creativity behind the content you're producing. And then in just a few minutes, you can, create assets for different channels that you can use for a number of weeks or even months. All right. So that brings us into the specific features of Issuu for Teams. Amber, can you talk through what some of the specific highlights for this platform is? I think you are muted.
That's my safety net. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we like to break it down kind of into 5 different pillars, if you will. So the first one here is going to be the multiple team workspaces. And this is going to allow you to organize by sector, location, in some cases, brand. So if you maybe have a lot of internal communication, but you're looking to have it sent out to different departments, and you have separate people working on that, it really just helps you to organize a little bit better, especially with these larger enterprises. We see uploading 1,000+ documents. So having all of that in one workspace, as time goes on, can become a little bit overwhelming when you're looking to go back to some of that content or just have it organized. The second one here is going to be the administrative control. And I think that really ties into the workspaces as well. So a lot of times it's going to make sense for product or marketing managers to act as the account owners, while other company representatives like designers will take on more of these admin roles. So they will have oversight over all of the workspaces. And then maybe you just assign a marketing manager to, say, one specific brand workspace. And then we would also have those who are able to share out that content labeled as members. So a few different options there versus everyone just kind of having their own Issuu account. The third pillar is going to be that amplified brand control. We call this a custom branding kit. And especially when it comes to enterprises, branding plays a pivotal role. So establishing your identity, fostering trust, also helping you stand out from the competitors, and driving that business growth. So this is going to help you with your customer perception, loyalty, and then just making it integral to overall business strategy and success. So this will allow you to replace the Issuu logo with your own for branding purposes, as well as add any sort of background image that you would like to have. And then moving on to this fourth one, I know I have said it a few times now, just these statistics and insights. So really everything matters. You will be able to see geographic location. I think the one that we have highlighted most is where are people spending the most time? And then that's what's really going to allow you to optimize your content there. If they're spending a lot of time on page 4, and that is one of your primary pieces of content, then maybe you want to move something closer to that that isn't getting as much traction. And then the last one here is going to be the multiple public profiles. So this also ties into the workspaces. So with each workspace, you will also get a public profile. So like I mentioned, if you have different brands that you would like to have on there, a really good example of this is a company's annual report, maybe their 10K, maybe the ESG, having all of these to be different workspaces it is a good way to organize externally as well. Yeah, and then Talius, I know you're gonna take us through a little bit more, so I'll let you take this one.
Exactly. Thanks, Amber. I know we just covered a lot of content there, and then we'll actually show what all of this looks live in a live demo in just a second. Before we dive into that, though, I want to take a look at a question that we just asked from Stephen in the chat, talking about the searchability of content on Issuu. So that's a great content. It's a great question. You can issue documents you can search for issue documents on Google, and they do pull up in the search results. So the answer to your question is yes. If you publish content on Issuu, it will be fully searchable on Google. Issuu itself also has search capability, so you can kind of explore the host of different content that exists on Issuu through our search capabilities. So your content is definitely going to be findable, is searchable in both Google and within Issuu. So Stephen, we'll touch base with you after the call if you're having problems with the searchability of your content. We'll make sure our CS team touches base with you. Great question. So now kind of back to who can use Teams. I know we've talked a lot about the capabilities here and kind of the wider impact that having effective, streamlined content marketing platforms is necessary for working in organization. But who can use Teams? It really ranges from industry to industry, from content type to content type. So there isn't really any limitation here when it comes to who's an applicable user to our Teams platform. It's everything from someone working in retail to real estate to education to finance, so to news to media. So as you can see here, just a selection of these logos. Whatever your use case, whatever your industry, there is an application here for Teams. And kind of taking a closer look at some of these specific examples, here are current Issuu Teams users that I like to highlight that I think do a really good job of publishing and producing amazing content on Issuu. The first of which is Stroud and Clark. They are a London-based multi-channel digital media company dedicated to creating exceptional technology, business, and lifestyle content. Their mission is to inspire, educate, and entertain, driving meaningful engagement and tangible results for their clients. And this is actually a quote from their founder and CEO. Our audience has increased by around 25% since using Issuu for our digital marketing strategy. We are more efficient, so we can produce and deliver more content, leading to a substantial increase in audience and readership. So this is exactly what we've been talking about so far, in that organizations of any size need ways to produce content more quickly and more efficiently, and then produce really high quality content. So if you'd like to actually, in the slides that we'll share out afterwards, you can click into their Issuu account and scroll through all of the content and flip through all of the content that they've produced. So I recommend taking a look at that. Another example that I like to share is WestCare, another Issuu for Teams user. They are a family of nonprofit organizations providing a wide spectrum of health and human services in both residential and outpatient environments. So WestCare is able to easily publish, host, distribute, and promote its content, all using Issuu. And then a quote from their VP of marketing: "We love how modern our content looks on Issuu and how easy it is to quickly share with our readers." So like we were talking about, if you have an organization that's been around for a significant period of time, and then you want to easily modernize all of the content you already have, this is a great way to do so. And do everything from publishing, hosting, distributing, promoting, and then analyzing that content. So that brings us to the main section of our webinar today, which is going to be that live demo. So I will hop over into Issuu for Teams account here. Great. Can you see this, Amber? Can you give me a thumbs up? Great. Perfect. So when you first go about creating your Teams account, the first step is going to be creating the organization. So this is essentially, in most use cases, this will be the name of the company or name of the organization. So I've created a fictional First Sip Coffee company, and this is our Teams account. Within this page here, when you're setting up your account, you can indicate the name, which will carry over to the URL. You have some access settings here. You can choose who has access, who can access information about each workspace within the organization. We'll get into those details in a bit. And then you can select a default public workspace. So what that means is, we'll show you how to create these different workspaces within the organization. And then each one of these will have a unique URL dedicated to the workspace. But let's say someone just types in the URL of your organization. This indicates which public profile will appear for that more condensed URL. So we'll get into what that means in just a second. So then once you create the name of your organization, again, this is the name of your brand, the name of your company, you can then go about creating workspaces or individual teams within this organization. So like Amber was mentioning, this can be everything from different geographic locations, different markets, different products within a larger organization, or different internal teams, whether that's sales or marketing. So then when you go into the left here, you can click on Team Workspaces. And what we've done is create a variety of different Teams workspaces for this fictional coffee company, First Sip. So as you can see, we have First Sip Coffee Europe, First Sip Coffee North America. So again, talking about those geographic locations, those different markets, this is a way you can do that. If you have content specific to the European market that you don't want getting mixed in with the North American market, this is how you would separate that most effectively. And then let's say you have a variety of internal documentation. If you have those annual reports, if you have stuff that is more sensitive content that you only want to share internally, you can create a workspace for that. And then let's say you have external specific content that is what the marketing team is working on. You want the marketing and the design team to be able to have all of their promotional materials in one space. This is how you do that. So again, you can structure these however you'd like. And I feel like every day, I find a new way that an Issuu user has structured their workspaces. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a really unique way of thinking about this. But here are just some examples. So you're not limited to what we have here. It's really up to you. And then again, the number of workspaces that you have is also up to you. So we have 4 here, but you can create however many you need for your specific use case and your organization. We'll also kind of looking through this page here, you can see that First Sip documentation is listed as that default team, which is what we just looked at on the page before. You can see how many publications have actually been published for each of these workspaces, and then how many members are in each workspace. And then we'll take a look at this menu on the right of each workspace. And within each menu, you can go to the workspace itself. So this would be essentially navigating to kind of your Issuu homepage for a specific Issuu account. You can have access to each one of these for each of your workspaces. So let's say you want to publish a piece of content in First Sip Coffee North America, you would navigate to that workspace and publish that content there. Or you wanted to create a social post for First Sip marketing, you would go into that workspace and do that there. You can also view the public profile. So what a viewer sees when they type in that URL or you share that profile with them. And then you can look at the members within that organization. You can also find all this content here on the left here under team settings. So as you can see, you have a drop down underneath each specific workspace, and you can go into the workspace there. You can go into public profile or members. But before going into one of those, let's take another look at members and how you can manage the different members of your organization. So this is a great way if you have multiple different people collaborating on content, if you have multiple different roles who need to be able to view the content, who need to be able to share it, people you want to have administrative control over the whole Issuu for Teams account, this is where you can remove all of these individuals. So as you can see right here for First Sip Coffee, we have 3 active members. This is myself, and whoever goes about creating the organization will be listed as the owner. So that's just something to keep in mind when you are creating your issue for teams organization. And then you can add and invite new team members. So let's say I want to invite a new team member. You can select the team you want them to be added to, and then just enter their email and select the role, and then go ahead and send that invitation. And then they will get an email inviting them to that specific workspace that you've invited them to. And then let's say here, so for example, this is a team member who I have added to this organization. And then you can go under role here and select if you want them to be an admin or a contributor. And the difference between these settings is that an admin has access to kind of all this back end, the more administrative features. So they can change permissions, they can add or remove members, etc. And a contributor only has access to the specific workspace that you've added them to. So they only have access to those issue creation tools. And then what's actually coming soon is, it's not live yet, but coming soon is a viewer role. So if you want people who can only view and share that content, that is a great way to just add further visibility and different layers of access to your Issue for Teams account. All right. And so we can also see here that you can, if let's say you've added a person on your team to one or two different workspaces, but you're like, shoot, I want to add them to another, you can add that really easily here. You can also remove someone from your team. So you have all the visibility you need into who's invited into your team, who's currently active, who has been sent an invite but hasn't accepted yet. You can invite new members to specific teams, etc., and change those permissions around. So now that we've kind of covered the back end of the Issue for Teams platform, we will actually go into the workspace for a specific team that we've set up. So we're going to go into First Sip Marketing, and we're going to, so we'll actually go through this way. We'll go to Teams Workspaces, and then we'll navigate over to First Sip Marketing, and we'll go to the workspace. And now you can see here, this is just your, traditional issue publishing page that looks like, this looks exactly the same as if you just have a personal issue account and you're not on Teams. So the experience here is exactly the same, but you're able to tell which workspace you're in on this top left here, which is just helpful, especially if you have many workspaces that you're a part of. Being able to, clarify which one you're working is very helpful. And then just like you publish any other piece of issue content, you can do exactly the same here. You can upload from your own device. You can upload from Google Drive or Dropbox, or use one of our many integrations with Canva, Adobe Express, or Adobe InDesign. So if in your organization, let's say you have one team that publishes long form content on Adobe InDesign and another team that publishes, shorter form brochures using Canva, they can go about publishing how they would normally. So we'll actually take a look at a piece of content that we've uploaded previously to this account, which is the First Sip Coffee Lovers Catalog. Again, this would fit really well into that marketing workspace, which is why that catalog is published here. So you can see it's a pretty simple, obviously this is sort of a rough template we have here of a catalog, and we'll walk you through what this looks like here. So once you upload your piece of content, you can change the title here, you can add a relevant description, and then you can also select availability. And what that means is it can either be public or unlisted. So public means that this piece of content is available on the public profile for this workspace, but unlisted means that it is only available to people who you send the direct link to. So this is great. For example, let's say you have that First Sip documentation workspace and you have an internal report, you'd want to mark that as unlisted. One thing I like to mention here is that once you mark a piece of content as public, you actually can't go back and mark that as unlisted. So that's just a quick pro tip there when you're marking your content. You can also go in and select additional settings like publication type, select a backdate, schedule the publication, etc. One thing I want to show here that I think is a fantastic issue feature is these auto-detected articles. So this is kind of goes back to what we were talking about issue enabling people to work more efficiently, especially when it comes to content marketing on different channels. So you've taken the time to design, craft the copy, make sure all the last edits to your catalog here, and then you want to be able to share it out on social media in a variety of ways. What Issuu does is actually auto-detect the different articles that exist or the different sections that exist within your larger piece of content. So if you've produced a long 50-page magazine and you have 4 or 5 different main articles or interviews within that piece, those will all be highlighted. So we can go in and edit one of these. And you can see here that in this right-hand section, this is the social article that has been auto-generated. And then you can actually take assets from any pages on your issue content, and it's a drag and drop editor. So you can add this piece of text into the article. It actually adds it right at the bottom here. And then you can go ahead and edit this article however you'd like. So let's say, for example, you're like, all right, I don't like this 1, 2, 3, 4 section here. You can, change the style of it. You can change kind of the format of it, or you can just delete it entirely. And then you have a variety of settings here, changing the alignment, changing whether the bold or underline, or even linking the text. So you have a fully built-in social article editor here that automatically selects the applicable text from your longer form piece of content. And then when you're ready with this, here, we'll actually preview what this looks like. You can preview what this looks like live. And then what I also like about this article editor here is you can upload additional images. So if you are kind of not satisfied with just the pieces of content that have been auto-detected from the article itself, you can upload outside assets that are applicable to your brand. And then once you're ready, you can go ahead and publish this article and share it. So again, within 3 minutes, you can go from long form piece of content to 3, 4, 5 different social articles you can share out that extend the length and the life of that piece of content. I also want to show our issue linking feature. So that's a great way to add additional capabilities and additional functionality to this piece of long form content that you've uploaded. So that's going to be on the left-hand side here. Simply select linking. And then, similar to the social articles that we were just looking at, you can go and add a link to any page on this content. And you can see here, some of these links have already been added. So you can see here, this is a link that just links out to a web page. You have these links here, again, which link to different pages within the piece of content itself. So this is great if you're making an index. And I'll show you how this works. So it's a simple drag and drop editor. You just drag and drop into any area where you want to add a link. Let's see, this is a placeholder we've used. You want to add a link here. And then you can add a web link, a shopping link. This is great for the catalog example that we have now, or a go-to page link if you're creating an index. And then simply just type in or copy and paste in your URL. And then that's automatically hyperlinked. I'll also show you can actually add videos in as well here. So this is what we've done here. You've drag and dropped, and then just like what you did before, you can insert a video, and then you can copy and paste in a YouTube or a Vimeo link, and then that will automatically be embedded within your publication, or actually you can play an overlay as well. So you have a variety of settings there. You can select play and overlay, which is essentially like a pop-up. So you'll click on this link, and then it'll pop up an overlay, or you can have that piece of content or that video embedded within the publication itself. And you can have it either embed and play on click, or embed and autoplay. So we'll save that there. And then we'll take a look what this looks like live. So you can see this is the link that we just added. We have these other existing links that we had here. And then here is that video that we were just talking about. So it is embedded, and then it autoplays within that set portion. So this is a great way to turn what otherwise would be a relatively static document, even with this engaging issue kind of flipbook format, into a really multimedia experience. So this is a great way to just enhance the engagement with your content. And let's say, this is a video that you've spent a long time producing, and you want more channels used to distribute it. Embedding it within an issue flipbook is a great way to get more eyes on that content that you spend a long time producing. One thing I'd also like to mention, a fun use case for issue linking, is that if you have advertisers within your content, you can link to their specific website wherever they have ads listed, and then say, look, we've driven this much traffic based on this link. So it's a great way to provide value, not just to yourself, but to any advertisers or partners who are collaborating on this content with you. So we'll go back here. So we've talked about the social articles here. We've talked about the linking feature. And I also just kind of want to review this share tab here. So this is where you can find all of the different ways to share your issue content. You can share that, just as that shareable link, which takes you to, for example, I'll show you what that looks like. Just copy that link, share it via email, share it via text message, and it takes you to, again, the standard issue publication page. You can also share it via a variety of social channels, or you can share it as a full screen reader link, which is our most distraction-free reading experience. So you can copy and paste this link here. Again, as Amber was mentioning, you can edit the background appearance, so you can change the background color. You can add in your own logo or a background image to really customize this reader. And then once you're happy with that, you can share that full screen reader link. And as you can see, it's more there's no distractions. It's fully focused on the piece of content that you have produced here. So, rather than sharing a PDF via an email and having to, save that to your device and then open it up and scroll through, you can share this with clients. You can share this with partners. You can share this with readers. And it's a great way to really put all eyes front and center on your content. And I've noticed one question here from Erica related to that linking feature we just talked about. So if you upload content into Issuu from Canva or from any of our integrations, and you have links already added within that publication, they will carry over. So that is a great note. So you can use this Issuu linking feature. As you can see on the left-hand side, you can use this Issuu linking feature to add links within Issuu, or if you already have links within your document, those will be carried over. So again, we try to make it as streamlined as possible. Wherever you're adding those links to kind of create that engagement, those will be carried over. And one of the final things that I want to discuss today is the Issuu statistics feature. So, as Amber was mentioning, one of the things that enterprises value most is insight into how their content is performing. And this is something that actually organizations of any size should really emphasize, because visibility into what's working well and what isn't is the way that you continuously improve and continuously iterate to make things more effective. So you can find that also on the left-hand side here. That's going to be actually, I'll take a look at this as well. So you might have noticed, but once you're on this home publication page, actually at the top here, you have some high-level metrics. So while you're working on editing your content, you can see some high-level metrics. But you can also go into statistics here and see the number of impressions, reads, average read time, clicks, downloads, these over any set period of time. So this can be, it's automatically set to last 30 days. You can do last 7 days, last 6 months, all time, to really get a better view of, overall how effective this piece of content has been. But then you can drill down into these specifics. So again, you can, change this chart to view impressions, reads, any of these top level metrics. But then you can also take a look at the links within your content and how many impressions, clicks, and what page these links are present on. So again, like we were talking about, if you have links going to advertisers' websites, you can say, hey, look, we had your link present on your ad on page 1, and it drove 203 impressions, or however many impressions it drove, to say, look, this is the value we're really bringing to you. Or if you're using this, like in this catalog example, trying to drive traffic to a product purchase page, you can say, all right, look, we had all of these products listed, and this product drove the most link clicks. So why was that? Is it the nature of the product itself? Is it how it was presented? And then you can edit and improve that content going forward. You can also take a look at just each page within your content, the impressions, reads, time, and average read time for each of those pages. So let's say you had, for example, let's say on page 4, you had a higher than usual number of impressions. Go take a look at whatever you're doing on page 4 and do more of that. And again, you continuously improve that content. And then you can even see reading devices, sources, and then geographic location around the world. So that brings us to kind of the end of our full issue demo here. We'll navigate back to this workspace. So as you can see again here, we're within First Sip Marketing. We've just edited, we've just shared that Coffee Lovers catalog. We've shared it as an article. You can share it as a full screen reader link. And we have additional features. You can create social posts. You can embed that on your own website. We didn't have time to explore some of those sharing features today, but we just kind of scratched the surface of what you can begin to do with those additional assets on Issuu. But let's say now you're done working within the marketing organization and you want to go back and now you want to work within the First Sip documentation. Boom, now you're in the documentation workspace and you need to publish an annual report. You can go ahead and do that there. So that brings us to the end of what we have time to cover for our presentation today. Again, just a brief recap of all of the capabilities within Issuu for Teams: multiple team workspaces, effortless administrative control, amplified brand control, detailed stats and insights, multiple public profiles, and again, more features and support. So yeah, that brings us to, everything from the challenges, content marketing challenges enterprises are facing today, to showing some examples, to doing a full-length demo. And I want to open it up to any questions that we still have. I know we covered a few in the chat. Let's see what we have here. So I just saw one pop up. Are the files on Issuu fully accessible? So I believe, I don't have all the details for this, but we are working on certain aspects of the accessibility. And I believe what that has to do is with screen readers for the content within the Issuu flipbooks. But I know that all of the Issuu pages, like on our website, are accessible. Amber, do you have any more information on that?
Yes, so we do have our VPAT. Allison, happy to meet with you outside of this and discuss more what you need in terms of accessibility. And then what we say, if that is something that you are looking to meet that criteria of, just make sure that where it will say allow for download, if you allow that PDF download, then it will go into the screen reader that they would already have as well. So we are working on, like Talia mentioned, our own screen reader. And then we're expecting, I believe that's on the roadmap before the end of this year. So
that's a great call, Amber. I actually didn't know that about allowing to download as a PDF. And Allison, we can connect with you about where to find that specific feature. So that allows anyone to, from that Issuu reader, download that publication as a PDF on their own device. Great question. And another question from Jennifer. Good clarifying question here. This is not an integration with Microsoft Teams. I understand that can be confusing. This is a separate Teams named product that is inherent to Issuu, so relating to those multiple team workspaces. But great question.
And then there's one more from Maggie. Talia, if we could just go over adding the logo a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Good question. So you can do that. I mentioned it, briefly today, talking about how you can, let's see if we can open up this. So great question, Maggie. So once you're sharing that, so let's say you're going into the share module now, the share module on the top right, and then for the full screen sharing reader, you can edit the logo and the background image here. So you just paste the image URL here for either your logo or the background image, and the logo will show a logo on the top left corner of the full screen reader, and the background image will show the image behind the background here. You can also change the color. So for example, we have this color picker that automatically detects a few colors here, and you can change that to align with your branding, or you can add your logo and background image here. And then we can actually send you an article to dive down into specifically how this works, but this is where you can find those features there. Great question.
And then there's one more from Chelsea as well, Talius, about unlisted documents without having to do the workspaces. Will we be creating a content library in the future that can be listed as unlisted without having to have workspaces, or would be similar to a portal customers could log into for non-public publications that the company would not want shared publicly?
Great question. So the being able to list a piece of content as public or unlisted, you can do that. That's an issue feature that exists fully outside of Teams. So you can do that with any piece of content that you publish on Issuu, regardless of whether or not you have a Teams account. So yeah, if you want to restrict that visibility, even if just on your personal Issuu account, you can definitely do that. And we do have, based on the specific issue plan you have, we have kind of restrict the number of unlisted documents you can publish. So that's just the one thing to note there. But short answer is yes.
And then just to add on to that a little bit, Chelsea, in regards to the portal customers could log into, and Natalia's touched on a little bit viewer role when he was going through, admin, group members. That is on the roadmap as well. We're looking to have that within the next month or two. And I believe that may be what you are referencing here as well, to where, let's say you wanted to send out a very sensitive insurance document to one of your customers, and you don't want anyone else with that link to be able to view it, you would be able to send them that link, they would log in, and only they would be able to view it. So not available yet, but on the roadmap, coming very soon.
Yes, indeed. Amazing. All great questions. And I noticed from Sheila here, relating to the 2-page spread and the printable 2-page. I know there are, some details regarding if you're uploading your content as a 1-page spread, it will show up as a 2-page spread. And then if you're uploading your content as a 2-page spread, it'll actually show up as a 4-page spread. So I'm not sure if that's a specific problem you're having, but Sheila, we can send you some information regarding how the spreads in your upload reflect on that actual issue reader there. All right, and I think those are all the questions we had today. And then if you have more questions about Teams or are looking to get started, you can shoot us an email here. We'll also be sending out emails that can connect you directly with Amber and really get started setting up that Teams account today. So I hope this was beneficial to everyone here, whether or not you're a current Teams user or you haven't heard of Issuu at all before. So please feel free to reach out with any additional questions or comments. And again, feel free to share this recording, share this presentation with members of your team to kind of spread the word and share that information. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. Thanks, Amber, for hopping on today. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.